The third stage of this year's Tour de Pologne always looked like it would be a big shakedown in the general classification. It had the most climbing of all 7 stages, and yet it didn't turn out quite like that. Let's see how it unfolded. We knew there'd be a big battle to get in the breakaway on the day, and that is how it proved. Yesterday's break on stage 2 was seemingly so easy to get into. None of that today, because they knew they had 3 big loops of this big mountain circuit, taking them into the Valdrischi Mountains, and then on the final loop going off south to take in a really nasty kicker. Before going back over the Valimska Pass for the final time, running back through the finish and up the final climb. Nowhere near as big as yesterday, but so much climbing between start and finish. It was due to be a big sort out. We went into the stage, by the way, with Paul Lapera as the race leader in the yellow jersey after his fantastic dominant win in Karpacz at the end of stage 2, and this is how the big opening group formed. Initially it was enormous, some 14-15 riders went clear, seemingly far too big to be allowed, and it did prove that way. However, as they were caught, another group rolled forward, and it was pressed on by Timo Kilic and Fabio van den Bosch of the Alpecin-de-Koning team. Those two were a key pairing in driving things on and formulating what would then go on to be our group of 10 riders who would gradually start to extend. Paul Lapera sat off to the left-hand side, winner of stage 2 in the yellow jersey. He, his teams and representatives of other teams happy just let the breakaway drift, and it drifted pretty quickly as well. They built up a big lead as they headed up into the Valdrischi Mountains for the first time on the first of one big lap of 3. The group was also fed from behind as well, and they were really strong powerhouses in there. Timo Kilic, one of them. Pepijn Renderink, the Dutchman, looking really good. And Timo Kilic started picking up, well, pretty much everything. He took the second categorised climb after the day, after his own teammate Fabio van den Bosch had taken the first one. There were lots of classified climbs on this day, by the way. And then Timo Kilic set about trying to make that white mountains jersey with the blue dots his own. He took yet another set of points, being chased by Mateusz Gadhulewicz, the Polish national team rider. We started seeing attacks from the group behind, which was really nice to see. Chris Hamilton giving it a go as well. Not the only one, though. It seemed they sensed that even though it was still nearly 4 minutes the gap, it was an opportunity to put time between themselves and others. None of those little breaks worked, though. And actually what was starting to happen was out front, our breakaway was really whittling down all the time. Kelland O'Brien was particularly impressive today, the Australian, for Jaco Alula. He kicked over the top of Timo Kilic, going for the mountains points that Kilic desperately wanted on the little extension that took them southward. Somehow Kilic revived himself from that, though, and took the points ahead of Kel O'Brien, who looked like he was starting to pay from that effort. Pepijn Renderink, as you could see there, riding across those two, as I say, was very impressive today, the Dutchman. However, all of Kilic's hard work did start to tell in the last 30k, and things were coming back together. It was looking ominous because UAE Team Emirates have chosen, as they have on all 3 of the stages so far, to wait for the second half of the stage to really start to wind things up. We were seeing riders being dropped left, right and centre. The chasing group, the main peloton, was getting smaller and smaller and more general classification focused. But as I said at the beginning and hinted at, this race was not to have the ending that we thought it might. And it happened on this corner here. A nasty looking crash that took down Paul Lapera, the race leader, and 3 or 4 others. Rafał Majka, the Polish champion, was also in there. And we started to wonder what was going on. The peloton was talking about should we ease up and wait for the yellow jersey, and the race direction then took the decision to neutralise the race, stopping the peloton and stopping what was then our 3-rider breakaway of Kel O'Brien, Lorenzo Milesi and Diego Ulissi, who jumped across. There was a lot of conversation. The race was stopped for about 10 minutes, and in the end the decision was made to restart the 3 leaders with what appeared to be a 40-second gap over the peloton. 40 seconds, not much when you've been standing still only about a third of the way up the climb. They had the other 2/3 of the climb yet to go, and as you can see, Menno Huising there for Visma Lease bike set off like a rocket. The reason for that is because while they were waiting, there were riders coming up behind and rejoining the group. As far as we can tell, one of them was young Matthew Brennan. There he is. This is a bit further on now, just under 5k to go. Matthew Brennan sitting in. Visma Lease bike putting everything into trying to get him into the perfect position. Such was the pace coming to the finish. As you can see, there were splits in there. Ineos Grenadiers getting caught. They were trying to lead out Ben Turner. They'd been dropped, but it came back. Diego Ulissi looking around, seeing Lorenzo Milesi trying to raise a sprint just before the finish as well. But this was how it went. Second day in a row where Michał Kwiatkowski had led out. Ben Turner jumped, and Ben Turner immediately getting a gap, extending to the line as well. And the British rider getting the second win of his professional career, and the biggest by far too. It was not the ending to the race we were expecting. And I have to say, above all the racing and the brilliant performance by Ben Turner, we do wish the riders involved in that crash the best, because it didn't look nice. We don't know yet all the ramifications of it, and that will unfold over the next day or so, and I hope everyone is well. There's the top 10 result. Ben Turner ahead of Pale Bilbao sprinting well at the end, and Andrea Baggioli also there for the battle. Jan Christen likewise as well. And there it was, Turner, Bilbao and Baggioli in the stage result, and the GC standings also staying exactly as they were at the end of stage 2. No general classification changes today. The race organiser decided to race just for the stage result and neutralise the general classification. Seemingly a sensible decision, not least because the yellow jersey was involved in that crash. A messy day, but we look forward to the rest of this year's race. Join us tomorrow.